Okay, well, we have been seeing calls around the world for Donald Trump to take action. Let's just look at some of the chants coming out of a rally in Toronto in support of freeing Iran from the Islamic regime. So if we do see action being taken, how successful would it be in destabilising the regime?
I think any action taken is likely to destabilize the regime. The question is not how vulnerable the regime itself is, it's what replaces it. It's hard to see the sort of government, open society coming to Iran quickly that protesters would like. But we need to understand, Gabrielle, that we've had tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of brave protesters taking to the street at real risk of life. There have been many thousands killed, possibly tens of thousands. It's hard to confirm numbers. Possibly the worst loss of life to protesters since the Islamic Republic was formed in 1979 during the revolution. So people are desperate. They're prepared to gamble a US intervention. Historically, they would have rejected this and called it imperialist. But many are now saying, bring it on. Let's just do something to try and break the deadlock and bring about change. And that is very understandable. The question is, once that process starts, what replaces this current awful regime? Possibly something better, but there's no clear path, and that's the dilemma.
On those protesters, and it was horrific to see so many killed. We don't know the exact number. One Iranian protester whose family were told that he faced the death penalty has reportedly been released. Iranian protester Irfan Sultani has been released on bail just days after the US warned that he was facing execution, a claim that Tehran has denied. But according to his lawyer, the 26-year-old was freed over the weekend after a bail payment of around $12,000. He was arrested during nationwide protests earlier this year for propaganda against the state and national security forces. What's your assessment of why he was released?
I think it shows that pressure from the US does make a difference, but it's double-edged. What the regime is saying, and they control the internet and they control, vast disinformation capacity, is that all of the protesters are driven by foreign agents, by the US and by Israel. And so here's the dilemma. When the US says, the president says we stand with the protesters, it sort of reinforces that message. But I do think that these releases, and it's not this only, not the single case, there have been others, amidst all sorts of horrible cases of execution, summary death, it does show that US power makes a difference. The question now is, how can that US power be used in a way that gets the maximum good without risking too much?
Global Islamic Politics Chair at Deakin University, Professor Greg Barton, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thanks very much.